Before we get started with the video, I want to remind you guys that I'm doing a EA Football 25 giveaway. So if you look down in the description and you click on that video, go ahead and comment your favorite college football team for a chance to be entered in to win a free version of EA College Football 25. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Heroes Gaming here, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the number one teams to maybe do a dynasty with and EA College Football 25. We're going to be breaking down the one team in each conference that I think you guys should rebuild, and I think you may have a fun time rebuilding. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The first conference we are going to be talking about is the American Conference. In this conference, we're going to be talking about the East Carolina Pirates. This may be the one team in this conference that I think everyone is going to choose if they had an option of choosing a team from this conference. Only because I think it's a popular team to rebuild due to the team colors. The purple, the black, and then the pirate logo. I think a lot of people are attracted to that when it comes to this team, but I think that's about it. They have been in the NCAA for 92 years, and their all-time record is 461 and 454, which is a .504 win percentage. So they are just barely over 500, I should say. Their bowl record is 10 and 11, which is a .476 win percentage. And the last bowl game that they played in and won was in 2022, the Birmingham Bowl against Coastal Carolina, where they won 53-29. They currently have no conference championships and no national titles. They are located in Greenville, North Carolina. So whenever you're recruiting, some of the teams that you're going to be recruiting against is going to include North Carolina, App State, Duke, Wake Forest, and NC State. The rivalries that they have is going to include Marshall and NC State. Some of the current NFL players that are playing right now that are from the East Carolina Pirates is only going to include one player, and that's going to be Zay Jones. He is currently playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. When it comes to roster, they have very little seniors on their roster. On the offensive side, they only have 5 seniors, and on the defensive side, they only have 4 seniors. So if you choose to rebuild this team, you're going to have a lot of freshmen and sophomores to manage on this team. The uniform tier, I'm going to put them at a B tier. Like I said in the beginning when I talked about this team, one of the reasons why someone would rebuild this team is because of their uniforms. Stadium tier, I'm going to give it a C. It is a half bowl with one upper deck on one side, and it holds 51,000 fans. The football climate whenever you're playing home with this team, in the beginning is going to get hot, was going to be hot, and also rainy, and then towards the end of the season is going to get cold, but I don't think you're going to be seeing snow when you're playing with this team. The next conference we're going to be talking about is going to be the Big Ten. And the team in that conference is going to be the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Now, I am a big Minnesota Vikings fan, but when it comes to the Golden Gophers, they are the most irrelevant team in the Big Ten. Even more irrelevant than Indiana and all the other teams, Indiana and Illinois. They just, no one really talks about the Golden Gophers, and why should they? They have not won a conference title in 56 years. They are looked over by, like I said, everybody. and they also cannot beat the Ohio State Buckeyes. They have a 7-47 record against the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Golden Gophers have spent 142 years in the NCAA. They have a career record of 733 and 543 losses, which brings them at a .572 win percentage. Their win-loss ratio in the bowl games are deadlock at 12-12 at a 50% win percentage. The last bowl game they played in was the 2023 Quick Lane Bowl versus the Bowling Green Owls, which they won 30-24. They have 18 conference championships and 7 national championships, but like I said, they have not been relevant in a very, very long time. They are located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Some of the teams that they're going to be recruiting against is going to include Iowa, Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio State, and Michigan. Their rivals are going to include Wisconsin and Iowa. They have 2 current NFL football players that play for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. That's going to be Rashad Bateman for the Ravens and Anton Whitfield Jr. for the Bucks. They're also going to have a high senior turnover because on the offensive side they have the entire offense is filled with seniors. They have 11 offensive seniors. Probably not all starters, but that is a lot of seniors for the offensive side. And for the defensive side, they have 9 seniors. When it comes to their uniforms, I'm going to give them a D. And that's because their uniforms are classic, but they never change. I haven't really seen much change in their uniforms in a very long time. And, that can be very bad. When it comes to football nowadays, a lot of players, when they choose to play for a football team, one of the reasons why they choose to play for a football team can be the uniforms. How good do the uniforms look? When you look at Oregon, a lot of football players over the years choose Oregon because of their uniforms and all the choices that they have, the alternates. And the football stadium, I'm going to put at a D, only because they play outside, and playing outside in Minnesota when it comes to October, November, and December, it's not good. The stadium holds 50,805 fans, and the football climate, like I just said, cold and snowy. So Minnesota has a lot of negative things going against them. Playing outside, bad uniforms, and they cannot beat the Ohio State Buckeyes. So it's not really looking good for Minnesota. The next conference and team we are going to be talking about is going to be the Big 12, and that's going to be the Houston Cougars. Now, the Cougars are going to be new to the Big 12 this season. They are starting their first year in the Big 12, and they also are going to have a big senior turnover after year 1 of your dynasty. They have spent 78 years in the NCAA. Their win-loss record is going to be 472 wins, 394 losses at a .544 win percentage. Their bowl record is going to be 13-16 at a .50 win percentage. The last bowl game they played in was 2022 Independence Bowl versus Louisiana, where they won 23-16. They don't have any conference championships in the Big 12 since it's going to be their first season, and they currently have no national titles. Their location is going to be Houston, Texas, and some of the teams that they're going to be recruiting against is going to be Texas, Oklahoma, Baylor, Texas Tech, TCU, UTSA, Rice, and Tulsa. The rivals are going to include Rice, Texas Tech, and Tulsa. They have one former notable NFL and NCAA football player that's going to be Andre Ware, who won the 1989 Heisman Award. When it comes to roster, they're going to have 7 seniors on the offensive side, and they're going to have 10 seniors on the defensive side. So a very high turnover, especially on the defensive side of the football. Their uniforms, I'm going to give them a C tier. Yes, they have the red and black, and then they also have the powder blue, which is very nice. But in my personal opinion, I'm not really too big on their uniforms, but that's just me. Their football stadium, I'm going to give also a C tier, because even though it looks really good at night, it's a nice double deck, and it looks like on at least one side, or on both sides, a triple deck also. But that's the only thing really, because even though it looks big, it only holds 40,000 fans. So that is a big minus for me. So it's a nice stadium, but it only holds 40,000 fans. As far as the football climate, it's going to be very hot, humid, and rainy in Houston, Texas. Very hot and humid. The next conference and team we're going to be talking about is the Conference USA, and that's going to be the UTEP Miners. They have been in the NCAA for 110 years. Their win-loss record is 408 wins, 623 losses, for a .398 win percentage. Their win-loss bowl record is 5 wins and 10 losses at a .333 win percentage. The last bowl game they played in was the 2021 New Mexico Bowl, when they played against the Fresno State Bulldogs, and they lost 24-31. The UTEP Miners have lost 7 straight bowl games dating back to 1988. The last bowl game that they won was 1967 in the Sun Bowl, where they beat Ole Miss 14-7. They have 2 conference championships, and they have no national titles. Some of the teams that they're going to be recruiting against is going to be Texas, Texas Tech, TCU, New Mexico State, Baylor, UTSA, and also they are located in El Paso, Texas. Their one rival is going to be New Mexico State, and they currently have no NFL players that have come from the UTEP Miners. As far as the roster, they have 3 seniors on the offensive side and 6 seniors on the defensive side. So you're going to be taking over a team that has a lot of young players. And when it comes to their uniforms, I'm going to give them an A, because they have a lot of uniform combinations. I played with this team in NCAA 14 Revamped, and they have tons and tons of different uniform combinations to choose from. I had a lot of fun playing with them. They have all orange, they have all blue, they have all white. So it was a very fun time playing with this team and using their different uniform combinations. As far as their stadium, I'm going to give them a C. They have a half bowl, and it looks good from the outside looking in, but some of the half bowls, they don't hold many fans, and this stadium only holds 45,971 fans. And the football climate is Texas. It's going to be very hot, humid, and dry. Next up, the Mid-American Conference. We're going to be talking about the Kent State Golden Eagles. They have been in the NCAA for 104 years. Their total win-loss record is 324 wins, 505 losses at a .394 win percentage. The only bowl game they have won was in 2019 in the Frisco Bowl versus Utah State, where they won 51-41. They've only been in a total of 5 bowl games. And the last bowl game they played in was in 2021 in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl versus Wyoming, where they lost 38-52. They have one conference championship way back in 1972, and they have no national titles. Kent State is located in, of course, Kent, Ohio. And when you have a football team in Ohio, some of the teams that you're going to be recruiting against, the number one team, as we all know, is going to be the Ohio State Buckeyes. The other teams are going to include Ball State, Ohio, Akron, and Bowling Green. The rivals are going to include Akron and Bowling Green. They currently have no NFL football players that play for the Kent State Golden Flashes, but they do have a retired football player by the name of Josh Cribbs. And if you guys don't know who that is, I advise you to get on YouTube and YouTube his kick and punt return videos, because they are very, I don't know how to explain this. It's an art to look at. He is one of the top kick and punt returners of all time in the NFL. When it comes to their roster, they have a lot of seniors on the offensive defensive side. They have 11 offensive seniors and 16 defensive seniors, starters and backups. So they're going to have a high roster turnover after year one of the dynasty. And Kent State is one of my favorite teams because of this big reason right here. Uniform. I'm going to give them an S tier uniform rating. The Kent State Golden Flashes have so many uniform combinations and options to choose from. I think they're up there with Oregon when it comes to different uniform varieties. I was playing with them on NCAA Football Revamped, and I think they had about 15 to 16 different uniform alternates to choose from. So when you're playing with this team, you're never going to get bored when it comes to finding what uniform that you want to play with every single game for years. The big negative when it comes to this team, though, is the football stadium. I'm going to give them a D rating when it comes to this, only because it's not really much. It looks like a high school football field. I don't know if you can change anything about the football stadium when it comes to EA College Football 25, or you just have to stick with whatever team that has their original football stadium, because it only holds 25,319 fans. So that is one thing that is a big negative when it comes to this football team. As far as the football weather, it's going to be clear, cold, and it can be snowy. So if you enjoy playing in snow, Kent State Golden Flashes is your team. Next up, we have the Mountain West Conference, and we're going to be talking about the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Now, the Rainbow Warriors have not been relevant in a very long time, but we'll get to that reason very soon. They have spent 115 years in the NCAA. Their all-time win-loss record is 604 wins, 492 losses at a .550 percentage. They have a 8-6 bowl record, and the last bowl game that they played in and won was the 2020 New Mexico Bowl versus Houston, and they won that game 28-14. They did get invited to the 2021 Hawaii Bowl, but it was canceled due to COVID reasons and other issues. They have 4 conference titles and no national titles. The one good thing about this team is they are located in Honolulu, Hawaii. So, what other better pitch to give a recruit than to say, hey, we're located in Hawaii. What better place would you rather, live and play basketball for the next 4 years? Some of the teams, though, that they are recruiting against is going to be California, Fresno State, UCLA, Oregon, San Jose State, UNLV, and USC. Some of the rivals is going to include Fresno State, Air Force, Wyoming, San Jose State, and UNLV. They have one notable former NFL player that played for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, and I said I was going to get back to this, is Colt Brennan. And he played in Hawaii in the early 2000s. This guy was breaking so many NCAA records when it comes to passing and throwing touchdowns. This team, he brought Hawaii to the forefront of everything. Everybody was paying attention to Hawaii and Colt Brennan, and ever since then, they have been irrelevant. When it comes to roster, they have 15 offensive seniors and 19 defensive seniors. So if you're going to take over this team to do a dynasty, it is going to be a very, very high turnover when it comes to seniors. And you're going to have a very tough time getting a lot of players and getting commitments to this team after year one. Their uniforms, I'm going to give them a C tier only because they don't have many uniform options. And the green really doesn't do it for me. The green and black combination really doesn't do it for me. So I'm going to give them a C tier when it comes to that. When it comes to a football stadium, right now, as it stands in 2024, I'm going to give them an F. Because they play at I forgot where they play at, but it's not it's a football stadium, but it's not really a football stadium. Only because they have plans to build a new football stadium, a new Aloha football stadium, and it's already underway, and it is planned to be open in 2028. So as of right now, I'm going to give them an F, but when a new football stadium opens, let's see what it looks like. Could be a B, could be an A. As of right now, their football stadium holds 50,000 fans, which, is pretty decent amount, but still, going to give them an F. When it comes to the football climate and the weather, clear and sunny. It's Hawaii. Come on. Next up is the SEC, and we're going to be talking about the Vanderbilt Commodores. And we're going to make this quick. There's really not much to say about the Commodores. They have never had a 10-win season in the 134 year of their existence. Just take that into consideration. They have never won 10 games in one season. They have a win-loss record of 618 and 665 losses at a win percentage of a .482. They've only participated in 8 bowl games, and they have a record of 4-4. They have no conference titles. They have no national titles. They are located in Nashville, Tennessee, and some of the rivals are going to include Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Kentucky. Some of the teams that they're going to be recruiting against in the SEC is going to include Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Florida, Arkansas, and Ole Miss. They have one former, well, he's not former, they have one current football player that played for the Vanderbilt Commodores, and that's going to be Jordan Matthews. He currently plays for the Carolina Panthers. And when Jordan Matthews played for Vanderbilt, they were actually a good team. He was a very, very good player. He won some awards. He was a very good receiver for them. I remember watching him play. He was very good. As far as the roster, they have 12 offensive seniors and 12 defensive seniors. So they also have a high roster turnover when it comes to seniors after year one of your dynasty. Uniforms, I'm going to give them a C. Yes, they have the all black, they have the gold, but it's really not much to it. They don't have a lot of uniform combinations or options to choose from, so we're just going to leave it at that. Their football stadium, we're going to give them a D, because as far as the SEC team, they don't have a decent sized football stadium. It only holds 39,790 fans. So not very SEC like of them. And I mean, what can I say? It's Vanderbilt. There's not really much to say about them. The football climate is going to be sunny, hot, humid, rainy, and towards the end of the season, a little cold. Last, we're going to be talking about the Sun Belt, and the team is going to be the Arkansas State Red Wolves. Unlike the Vanderbilt Commodores, Arkansas State has 4 10-win seasons under their belt. And they were one of the teams that I also enjoyed playing with in Dynasty mode and NCAA Football 14 revamped. They have a decent amount of uniform combinations, and I enjoyed playing with this team. They have spent 113 years in the NCAA. They have a total win-loss record of 496 wins, 525 losses, and puts them at a .486. They have won 4 bowl games and lost 7, makes them 4-7 at a .364 win percentage. The last bowl game they played in was last year in the Camellia Bowl versus Northern Illinois, where they lost 19-21. They have 12 conference championships, but they have no national titles. Arkansas State is located in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And some of the teams that they will be recruiting against, if you choose them, is going to be Arkansas, Memphis, App State, and Coastal Carolina. So they only have one rival, which is going to be Memphis. They have 3 current NFL football players who have played for Arkansas State, and that's going to be Demario Davis from the Saints, Blake Grupe, also from the Saints, and J.D. McKissick from Washington. They don't have many seniors on their roster. On the offensive side, they have 4 seniors, and on the defensive side, they have only 6. And like I said before earlier, talking about this team, they have great uniforms. So I'm going to give their uniform rating an A tier. Love their uniforms, love the logo, the wolves on the helmet. Can't really go wrong with that. The only negative thing I have to say about Arkansas State is their football stadium. I'm going to give that a D rating, only because it's very small and it only holds 30,382 fans. Not a big thing for me. It's one thing I hate about playing with them is their football stadium was very small. As far as football climate, it's going to be hot, humid, sunny, rainy, and of course at the end of the season you're playing in Arkansas, it's going to get cold. Alright, so that is going to be it for this video. Let me know down in the comment section, if not one of these teams that I mentioned, what teams are you going to be trying to rebuild in the new EA College Football 25 game that's going to be coming out very soon. Also, remember, I'm going to be doing a giveaway, so down in the description, click on the video, comment your favorite college football team for a chance to be entered, and I'm going to be doing that giveaway on release day or release night, whenever the game comes out. So stay tuned for that live stream, and thank you all for watching, and as always, have a good day.